Everybody, Shane Severson here, Legacy Realty. We got Mason, and we are hanging out for our Tips Tuesday. We Team Severson, and we are coming to you. Mason, we were actually meeting with some clients of yours, some good friends of yours that do a lot of investing, and I thought, what a better opportunity to take. They do short-term rentals, and a lot of people out there may not know what a short-term rental is, what that looks like, what the benefits are, maybe what some of the downfalls are. So would you talk to us today about what is a short-term rental, maybe what people should be looking for as far as long-term, short-term, and so forth?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it just kind of depends on what your goals are, what your needs are, and just what kind of investments you're looking at. But I mean, owning a home alone, that's a big investment. It's an awesome investment. Now, to use that investment to your advantage in long-term renting, short-term renting, maybe owning several properties that you are renting out, there are a couple different options, and I think that's what we want to talk about today. So we got long-term renters. It's pretty straightforward. You stick a year lease in, have tenants in there for a year. You got a fixed rent. Pretty simple. I don't want to say simple, but it's pretty straightforward. Now, on the other side of that, we have the option of short-term rent with companies like Airbnb, VRBO, some that I'm sure you're familiar with. Short-term renting really comes down to having extra monthly cash flow. Something that we look into and talk about a lot is if you're doing a long-term rent, it's a great long-term investment. You might not have the same monthly cash flow depending on different variables there, but when you're doing short-term rentals like an Airbnb or whatever it may be, you can really maximize your monthly cash flow that's coming in. Take that cash, put it back into the house, pay down your mortgage. There's several things you can do, but it just kind of depends on your goals.
I talk about, let me interrupt you real quick. So I talk a lot about long-term rentals, right? Which again are just buy a home, stick a renter in, and rent it out for the next 20 years. Do you feel like you make more money on a short-term rental? Is that what you're saying?
I think and it depends. I think so, though. In terms of your like I said, your monthly cash coming in, you're probably making, well, there's potential to make more money month to month. Because you have your rate fixed at $2,500 a month. I mean, you could make that in a couple weeks doing a short-term rent.
So you could possibly make twice as much money on a short-term rental.
Totally. Oh, yeah.
So instead of making $2,500, which barely covers your payment, doing a short-term, you have an extra $2,500 to $3,000 above your payment that you can use that money. What you're saying is to invest in other ways.
Yeah, and there's upside to that and there's downside to that. You're doing short-term rentals, you're going to have a lot more, you have to be in there cleaning regularly. You're going to have a lot of like turnover and people coming in, coming out. Some HOAs don't allow that. Even now, some cities in the Denver metro area, some towns are completely banning short-term rentals. So there's some upside, some downside. I know in the city of Denver, you have to have a primary resident, a permanent primary resident on your property in order to short-term rent. So there's different kind of hoops you got to jump through to do it. But I'd say if you can do it, if you have a property that makes sense to do it with, you can definitely maximize your monthly cash flow.
A lot more money.
Totally, yeah, definitely.
It's funny you were talking, when we were meeting with your friends that are investors, they're making like $8,000 a month on 2 properties, which is astronomical, right? Just huge amounts of money. And they're using that money to fix it up, to gain more equity. And really, that's his job, right? I mean, he's making $8,000 a month plus building his future in these properties.
Yeah, no, it's an awesome way to do it. Definitely a great way to set up your family, set up investments, and it's just, it doesn't make sense for you.
Yeah. All right. Well, hope that helps. If you are interested in short-term rentals, he's your guy. So reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you about that. If you're looking for long-term rentals, we actually have a seminar that we're going to be giving quarterly. So join us. We just ended one the other night. So join us for our future ones. We're going to be doing those regularly and talking about how you can take advantage of this great real estate market here in Denver. So God bless. Hope that helps. We'll see you next week.